The idea for the fact book is so that each nation can get together and can summarize all of the relevant information that you have about your current status of geodesy. This example here for Australia, we talked about the geodetic datum. That is the first parameter that we're going to complete information about. You'll recall yesterday from Nick's presentations, he mentioned that Australia has two datums. They have a static datum, GDA 2020, and they also have their time-dependent, GDA 2020, but they also have a time-dependent datum, which is evolving. So in this opportunity, Australia has put in that they have two geodetic datums. So you see here information they put in, they talk around the reference frame, its full name. You might think, well, we know the name, but this document could actually be going to other departments, other ministries within your nation, and they don't understand fully what geodesy is, so they might not fully understand the naming conventions. So on the fact book, we recommend that you put in the official formal names for any datums, any reference frames, because this document we see as being a very good reference document that you can share across other government departments, but even potentially with your neighboring nations or with your regional geodesy groups such as SERGAS. And we would love to get a copy at the center as well to understand where you are. You see further information here around the geodetic datum in this example. We provide the reference epoch, again, very important to do. We clarify whether it's a static or time dependent. We give information about the reference ellipsoid that is included or used for this datum. We also state and provide links to any explanatory documents. These, more often than not, are government documents which talk about the legal traceability of the measurement system which is used to generate that reference frame for that nation. Again, these are very important documents, very useful documents to have. We also put in the EPSG or ISO Geodetic Register information about that datum. We'll talk more about registers later on, but again, this is a very important opportunity here to put in the official correct information. Question?
I think it's important to make sure that EPSG have different codes for CRSs and datums. So make sure you pick the right one.
Okay, thank you. Next page. You see all, we try also to include any of the links, web links in the document. For the geodetic datum number 2, if you can scroll down please, Walla. We talk about the Australian terrestrial reference frame. That's the time-dependent reference frame that is in place in Australia as well. We also provide information and clarification here of its characteristics. And again, you may say, well, we already know this information, we help to define that. But documenting and clarifying this information in one document is an extremely useful and important resource for being able to share amongst your governmental colleagues. Also, when you are starting to work beyond geodesy and surveying, you might be working with an astronomical group or an engineering group, or working with your hydrographic equivalents, depending on how your government is made up. You can share all of the relevant and pertinent information with them in one easy document. You scroll down, please, Walla. Again, we put in that information about the reference ellipsoid explanatory documents and any register codes that are relevant to that as well. Next page, please, Walla. Then we introduce physical height datum information. So this is where you put in that information in this example around your height system on land. We have an opportunity later to do it also for marine. And again, you'll put that information on there. In Australia, we have the Australian height datum. We talk about the territories, the islands, and the regions that this is relevant and applicable over. And we also put in some information there about some of the procedures that we used in order to define that height datum. For this scenario, we didn't get the complete datum about the marine height datum. But again, this is an example in which ACE in Australia are up for that. We also have a section in here around the geodetic infrastructure. Nick mentioned this yesterday about the 4 different geodetic infrastructure types. We have an opportunity here for you to summarize what capabilities you have in your nation around those as well. So in this example, Australia has a lot of GNSS cores, and they are providing data into, of course, the national network, but they're also contributing internationally. So we have in Australia, just stay on this place, please, Walla. 22 stations in Australia are contributing to IGS, for example. This is useful and interesting information to see. We also have information in there that 17 of those cores were used in the realization of ITRF 2020. We have information in there about SLR, both the owners and the operators. That's also very important to notify. Just because there is some geodetic infrastructure in a nation doesn't mean that it's both owned and operated by that nation. It could be that the facility was established through external funding, or it could be maintained and operated through external resources, or even a collaboration. And this is very useful to note. We were talking there before around increasing the VLBI presence, for example. Well, that is something that not every country could do alone. It may require partnerships, data sharing, funding partnerships, maintenance partnerships, and the like. So this is where being able to summarize that there and understand, okay, the infrastructure that we do have, who's involved with it? And we talk about this as the capacity. So in case of Yarragadee, that facility, the SLR facility there is owned by NASA, but it's operated by Geoscience Australia. So there's actually 2 organizations there have that capacity to develop one piece of infrastructure. So these are very important things to know. We also have information, oh, sorry, Walla. We also have information there about VLBI, Doris, and also tide gauges. That's also relevant as well. Gravity information, gravity infrastructure that we have. Again, all of these different pieces of infrastructure are collecting data and contributing to Geodesy for that particular nation. We also have information in there about co-location sites. So as Nick presented yesterday, of course, there are a lot of GNSS cores contributing to ITRF around the world. There are fewer Doris, there are fewer SLR, and there's only 2 handfuls of VLBI around the world. But we've also clarified here where there are multiple technologies or multiple geodetic infrastructure at the same location. That's also very interesting to know and to understand. This next section is around the geodetic capabilities. So it's further expanding on who does what. In this particular section, we have information in here about the data collection centers. It's fantastic having all of this infrastructure, VLBI, SLR, but it's also very important to know where is that data collected, hosted, processed, what is done with that data, what analysis is done. And here we have a lot of activities there that are performed by Geoscience Australia. Also has as a role as a network or a regional network analysis center. And it's very interesting also to put this down here. Again, you might think, we know all of this internally within our team. There's nothing new here. What this fact book can help you with later is that you now have a list there of not only the infrastructure and the sites, but the capabilities that you and your colleagues and departments are already providing. When you have to go later on and justify the funding for your team and all of the specialists to do this work, you now know this. You have that one document where we say, we don't just have the GNSS and the VLBI, we have the teams that process this, that do weekly analysis, that bring this together as a service. We also provide near real-time tropith zenith delay information as well. So we do a lot more than just the standard Geodesy. So all of these points are very useful information as evidence when you have to justify your operations and your budget, but are also very important and very useful when you are asking for further budget, further resources, because you really understand what we can do now. We also have sections in there where you can put in information about geodetic product development, talks about the software resources also that have been developed within your nation, within your organizations. Can you scroll down, please? Because these are also very important tools and resources that you have developed. They are also examples of capability that you have developed. In terms of the software resources, you're going to hear a few more of those through the rest of the workshop in different parts. But again, many of these resources, of course, these resources were developed to do a job within Geoscience Australia and the Australian geodetic activities. But many of these tools now are also made available internationally, beyond the borders, for free. Again, that's another example of that geodetic capability that a nation has built and provided, not only Australia, but the greater geodetic community. I hope you can see from some of my comments here that we're talking around the things and work that you have done is fundamental to your operations, but of course it can be used by many other groups and help others to improve their ability and capability. And these are going to come into a lot of the discussions around some of the further future sessions. There's also a very important section here, and it's probably one of the most important sections, to be honest, and that's around governance. What parts of the Australian government work together and move, and what teams have been developed to help oversee and provide governance to everything you've seen before around the geodetic capabilities and geodetic infrastructure. That is, and sometimes that can be a much more challenging section of this fact book for a nation to fill out, because you might not be fully aware of all of the different technical groups or managerial groups who work together behind the scenes. Next page, please, Walla. And there's also another part, and again, this is something we want to introduce to you. It's around industry partners. So it's not necessarily around academic partners, that is relevant, or government partners, but it's also around how is that nation and its Geodesy and the groups working on Geodesy, how do they work beyond their borders? And this is an example here for Australia, where different representatives from the different teams within Geodesy do have that international reach. And that's also very interesting to know and to look at. Again, this type of resume snapshot is also very useful when you have to justify and talk around your department or your agency's capabilities internationally. So I'm going to pause here a little bit because, again, that will be a lot of information